Ready? There we go. Okay, so it says that I'm live, and I've been live for like 2 seconds. And let's look over at my phone and see if I'm up on my phone yet. As soon as I'm up on my phone, I'll go ahead and start talking. And it's still just a little blank screen with a little grayed out picture of me. We're almost there. We're almost there. Don't worry, we're almost there. I just saw it do a little flicker thing. It says one person is watching, and that's me. I'm watching. There might be somebody else watching, but it hasn't read them yet. I know I was the first person watching because I had it pulled up like before I actually started the studio. And Al Davis is here and says, "Who's that handsome man?" Well, what a humble way to introduce yourself, Al Davis. But I got something special for you guys to open up today. This is the Masters of the Universe Origins Sketchbook series. This is inspired by original concept art, Skeletor, the Lord of Destruction. And this is based on early designs by Mark Taylor. And there is Skeletor there with this hood all sticking out. Skeletor sitting in the throne of Castle Grayskull. Al Davis says, "I was looking in a mirror." Yeah, I'll bet. And then this is very similar to poses that we would see in the mini comics. I don't remember if this is an exact pose that we saw in the mini comics, but yeah, and you can see the artwork and the tapestry hanging in the back there. That was actually designed by Mark Taylor's wife. She was the one who designed all the stickers and everything for Castle Grayskull. So they worked together on that project. Isn't that sweet? And all kinds of different images of Skeletor here throughout the years. This funky vehicle, I don't remember this thing. I think that's probably an unproduced vehicle, I think. Some instructions on how Skeletor's Havoc Staff can be used as a flail, which is shown here on the side. That's how it was originally designed, folks. Originally, it was supposed to work as a flail, but, they wound up not doing it. Al Davis said, "I'm about 20 minutes from finishing Motu on Amazon Prime and like to help it champion its name." Yep, I'll probably watch it again today myself. I actually started watching an episode of Masters of the Universe Revelation because I've been in the mood for some Masters of the Universe, and I'm like, I know I don't have time to watch the movie, so I'll just go to Netflix and give them a little bit of spillover there. But let's see, we got Castle Grayskull here. We got Skeletor looking all menacing. We got Skeletor with the hood knocked off. I remember that from the Power of Point Dread book and record set. And let's see what else is on here. There is Errol McCarthy's artwork from the back of the Skeletor packaging. There's some cool Alfredo Alcala Skeletor's holographic image calling to Beast Man. And we got the Filmation He-Man. Or the Filmation Skeletor. And then this is the image of Alfredo Alcala's artwork from the first mini comic from He-Man and the Power Sword. And then a whole bunch of Skeletor demons going through the portal to Eternia, where it showed his whole race is looking identical to him. I don't buy into that concept. There's only one Skeletor. Well, I mean, there's actually lots of different Skeletors. You've heard my idea as to, there's been various creatures that have been bound with this demon ever since it came to Eternia, and Skeletor was just the latest and the greatest, we'll say. Al Davis, you were jonesing for some He-Man too. Oh, only always. Yeah, you've seen it for the third time? Yeah, like I've watched it 3 times on Amazon myself. And one of those times was with my mother and my sister. And like I mentioned before, my mom went with me when I saw it at the theater. I took my mom out to the movies and get her out of the house some. And she really enjoyed it. So I haven't talked to my sister since we watched it, but I'm hoping she enjoyed it. I didn't get to finish it that time because I had to run off to work. But, I've seen it before. So I'm like, yeah, you guys just finished watching it without me. So there is the image of Skeletor, another image from He-Man and the Power Sword with him triumphantly entering Castle Grayskull. God, that's some beautiful artwork there, all of it. Yeah, a lot of He-Man and the Power Sword in here. You got Tila and Beastman and Skeletor creeping on Tila while she waters her unicorn charger at the lake there. And yeah, that was a fun Easter egg in the ending credits, as they actually show Tila with her unicorn charger in the ending credits. So that was nice. So here is a closer look at the actual Skeletor figure. And I do have some nitpicks about this that we're going to get into, but they can wait. First thing I'm going to do is pull out this Havoc staff. We're going to have a look at this. Now, one thing I was curious about, since it does very much talk about the feature of this working as a flail. My God, it's got a rubber tab around it. Why? So I was wondering if that was just all talk, if this Havoc staff actually does work as a flail, and that would be really cool if it did. But I don't know if it will or not. The head is definitely a separate piece, and it kind of wobbles a little bit as it moves. It's not too snug on there. So let's see if we can pull it out. Oh my God, it actually does. That is cool. So we can pull the. It's got a little string on there, a little flail, so we can be swinging it around. I don't know if there's a way to retract the cable. I don't know how this works. Oh, look at that. It comes all the way out like that. Wow. How about that? So do we maybe twist this around and that? Yeah, so here's how you get it out. Here's how you get it. You can just pull it out like I did. Like that. But when you want to wind it back in, you twist this part here. And you see that starts to reel it back in. So that's really cool. Like I said, this was originally how they designed the Havoc staff to be in the toys. This was originally how it was supposed to work as a flail, and that was going to be like an extra bonus as far as how this weapon worked. And Man-at-Arms was supposed to have the same thing on his mace. It was supposed to have like a little chain that extended, or a little cord that extended, or something like that. So it's really cool that finally, more than 40 years later, finally we have the Havoc staff as it was originally designed to act as a flail. And I really like the design of this Havoc staff. It looks really cool. At first, I was thinking that it might have just been a repaint of the 2000X cartoon collection battle, the Havoc staff. But it's actually not. It's actually a new sculpt, and that's nice. It looks really cool. So let's set that aside for the moment. And we'll move on to Skeletor himself and get him out of the package. And like I said, I do have a couple of nitpicks about this guy. We're gonna get into the nitpicks. Do I have my snips over here? I need my snips. I want my snips. I don't really need my snips. I could probably just use the X-Acto knife, but I'd rather use the snips. Al Davis says, it gives me the kids menu in a fast food diner, the reverse side to color in when it wasn't the shitty easy made. Yeah, kind of. I mean, I could go and color all that in if I wanted to. But yeah, it's really nice. I really like this artwork. I kind of just want to hang this up on my wall as decor. I think that would be really cool. So let's see. He's got rubber tabs around each of his elbows and each of his ankles. And it looks like that's it. It looks like that's all the rubber tabs. Does not look like there's one around his waist. And there's something I'm going to tell you right now. I'm very disappointed in something when I get it out. And I didn't know about this. This is like going to be a little bit more of a nitpick. A little bit more than a nitpick. Look at this. They did not bother to give him gladiator skirt on the back. The gladiator kilt. So we just see the furry trunks. And it's like, here lately they've started to actually, on some of these figures, put more gladiator kilt in the back. That was one of my disappointments about the Filmation version, is that definitely should have had them on there, because that would have been on model. But it doesn't have any in the back. That's disappointing. That's very disappointing to me. And it's very disappointing to me with this guy, too. I wish they had done that. And it's not like there's a buckle back here, so there's no reason that they needed to leave it off. Al Davis says, like a mega superior version of that, like the best reverse side of a kid's menu ever. I mean, I get you. And he's got that hood that kind of sticks out almost like a baseball cap brim. It sticks out kind of like almost ridiculously far. And I think I could, if I wanted to, trim it up and make it a little more flush. But I'm not going to do that because it's gotta have that feel of the classic Mark Taylor design. So my other complaint, besides the gladiator kilt not going all the way around, which it really should, is that it's very strange to me that they gave him a white skull for a face. And if you look at the original designs of Skeletor, he has a blue face. This is not actually supposed to be a skull face. This is supposed to be kind of like a more of a wizened, mummified kind of face. And it kind of became a skull later on. And it does have that kind of aspect to the sculpt. They did get that with the sculpt. Like, these aren't necessarily teeth here, like you'd see on a skull. The cheeks are hollowed out, but the jaw isn't a separate piece. This is clearly a skull that has skin over it, but it's white skin, and it should probably be blue skin. And to be honest, ideally, I think what I would have liked to have seen with this would be an alternate head that, since they already have the head sculpt, it was on that San Diego exclusive like years and years ago. Give us the Lords of Power head, and then that could be like an alternate head, just kind of like how the Sketchbook He-Man had a black-haired head and a blonde-haired head. Al Davis says they've been going to the gym and not to do their squats in the gym. Weak bum game. Yeah, well, he needs to get behind himself instead of in front of himself, because being in front of yourself is a facade. But if you get behind yourself, you can accomplish anything. I like how like that just kind of sounds like some nonsense at the beginning that Dolph Lundgren is feeding him, but then he finally gets it, realizes, oh, there actually is something to it, and then he's actually giving it to the as his motivational speech at his war seminar. All right, we're gonna have our war council. It's not a war council, it's a seminar. Our war seminar. Al Davis says, topically, Motu is the #1 motherfucking film on streaming in the world at this moment. Hell yeah. Dude, I told you it was going to happen. I told you it was going to happen. Once it gets streaming, people are going to watch the fuck out of that thing. It's like, dude, if you're somebody who's my age, if you're somebody who grew up in the 80s like I did, you remember there were a lot of movies that didn't necessarily do so great at the box office. Maybe they were out like flops. Maybe they just kind of underperformed. But I'm talking movies that like probably should have done better at the box office than they did. I'm talking movies like Popeye, Legend of the Lone Ranger, Tron, Clash of the Titans, Flash Gordon. You know the type of movie I'm talking about, where maybe it didn't set the box office on fire, but maybe your mom or your dad or your grandma or whoever took you to the theater when you were a kid and you saw it and you fell in love with it. And then they started showing it on HBO or the Disney Channel, and you watched it pretty much every time it was on. If you were lucky enough to have a VHS, you recorded it on your VHS and you watched it over and over and over again. I can't tell you how many times I watched the movies that I just mentioned. Well, right now Amazon is seeing that in real time. They're seeing He-Man like become an instant cult classic, and I think we're gonna get that sequel. That's what I'm saying. So I thought it was gonna do well at the box office, and it didn't. I was wrong, and I thought that it was gonna do really well in its second weekend, that like, it would have like a small drop off, and I was wrong. It had a huge drop off, like a ridiculously huge drop off for a movie that underperformed like that in its first weekend. Ridiculous. And I was like, well, I'm still holding out hope that once that thing hits streaming, it's going to do huge. And thank God I was right. And Al Davis says, love that too. Hadn't actually picked up on some of the minutia in the script or Easter egg background details. Yeah, there's so much of that. It's so rich with that kind of stuff. Like the most recent times I watched it, I kept catching things that I haven't seen. It's going to be a movie that's worth going back and watching and just analyzing it with a fine tooth. So there he is with the Havoc staff. And you'll notice that this is a different shade of purple than what most of his suit has. And in fact, I would say that his armor and his hood are less purple and more of like kind of a slightly purplish gray, if you can see that. And of course, he's got some purple trim on the armor and a purple buckle on his belt, purple trim on the shin armor, and then he's got red bat emblems. I'm sorry, red, yellow. I'm sorry, I don't know why I said red. I think because I was thinking of the Horde. He's got yellow bat emblems on his breastplate and on his shin guards. So I was always of the opinion, like ever since the concept of Skeletor being part of the Horde was introduced, I was always of the opinion that Skeletor's bat emblem was like where he originally had a Horde emblem and he stripped it off. And it was just kind of like where the bat shape kind of was still embossed into the emblem, into the armor underneath the emblem. And this does look kind of like the Horde emblem, but just without the Hordak head on it. But yeah, that's how it was. That's how it was colored in the original Mark Taylor design. And I'm guessing that, you know, like a lot of this stuff in this line, it wound up getting simplified when it wound up getting put into production. So they probably just decided to go with all purple armor because it saved them a little bit of money. That's what I'm thinking. Jason's Electric is here and says, "Hi, Alan. My grandkids loved the Motu movie, and it reached a lot of people that didn't know about it." Right? Yeah, like that was another thing that when the movie first came out and it did not do well at all. It bombed at the box office. It bombed. But one of the things that I'd seen about it was that it was getting like super positive word of mouth from people my age, people our age, if you're my age, and most of my viewership is, I think. And younger people, people like, you know, children, and you know, like, and that's really who this movie is made for. I think it's to introduce He-Man to a new generation, and I think it did a good job with that personally. But yeah, the kids loved it. The kids loved it, and that was part of the reason I said it's gonna do awesome when it hits streaming, because kids, you know, kids they watch stuff over and over and over again. Like when I got Batman 1989 on VHS, I literally only stopped watching that thing long enough to rewind the VHS and watch it again. But yeah, I'm glad that your grandkids are loving the movie. Make sure you get them some toys if you haven't already. Al Davis says, "Be able to get. We live in a world of instant gratification. Gone are the days when you might have missed a film at the cinema, then got word of mouth, then got to rent it on video, be lucky enough to get a copy of it, or hope the video shop has enough copies of it, or wait for it to be returned, hopefully promptly." And like I said, now it's not like that anymore. Now, like, you know, kids will go onto their Amazon and see, "Ooh, Masters of the Universe was on. I loved seeing that in the movie with my grandpa." Or, you know, I heard that my friend Dave said he really liked it or whatever, and they go and watch it, and then they watch it over and over and over again. And then Al Davis says to Jason's Electric, "That's awesome to hear. I think people will see the layers of good messages and themes and good moral ethical statement, and it's super fun and enjoyable, and it really is about being a decent man." You know, that was something, a decent person, he clarifies. That was something that people were complaining about, was that somebody said that like it was a movie that was against toxic masculinity. And then that was another thing where people decided it was woke. And you know, I'm sick of the whole woke thing. Like I'm not like a super wokey myself, but I do like to think I'm an inclusive sort of guy. You know, I have all kinds of friends that are gay or transgender or black or white or, you know, Asian. I'm like I love people who are good people. That's all I care about. But you know, sometimes the woke stuff, it can get kind of obnoxious, can't it? You know, to me, woke, like I said before, is being inclusive is a good thing, but woke, as I look at it, what people call woke anyway, what's now called woke, I look at it as people being obnoxious about it and using it as a cudgel and using it to hurt people. And I don't think you should use diversity to hurt people. I don't think you should weaponize stuff like that. I think people should be just good to each other, no matter what, especially over things that are like inherent aspects of people that they can't change. Somebody can't change being gay or being black or being white or, being straight or being right-handed or left-handed or whatever. And like if it's woke to want to be a decent person to people, I guess then I'm woke. I don't know, whatever, I don't even want to call it, but I just think you should just be cool to people. And to me, toxic masculinity is another one of those things where it's like that's just kind of a buzzword that people made up, a buzz phrase, whatever you want to call that. And like to me, it sounds almost like, and I'm sure with some people it is the case, like they're trying to infer that masculinity itself is toxic, and nothing could be further from the truth. Being masculine is a very good thing, but to me, what most people that would use the term would call toxic masculinity, I have another phrase for it. I call it being an asshole. I mean, that's a much better way to describe that, because like the things you call toxic masculinity, well, women can do that too. So women can also be assholes. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, just don't be an asshole. Be good to people. That's what I'm saying. So Jason's Elector says, we went to the movie and gave them each a Chronicle Skeletor and the other a Beastman to play with while at the theater. That is awesome. And then says Trapjaw, not Beastman. Oops. Well, they're both cool. So if it's Chronicles, they haven't put out a Chronicles Beastman yet, so Trapjaw would make more sense. Al Davis says woke is extremely shallow and obnoxious. Yup, that's what I'm talking. It's performative. Like, I honestly think that a lot of the times when people use when they're trying to be like that, it ain't really even about trying to help people, like trying to help the marginalized people. It's about like trying to hurt other people, and that's what makes it not cool. So and like I said, I'm all for inclusivity. And if you're watching my channel, and if you're a gay person, a straight person, a transgender person, a bisexual person, I don't really care. Good for you. I'm glad that you have something that works for you. But for me personally, I just care that people are good to each other. That's all I care about. So you can call that woke if you want, whatever. I don't really care. But Al Davis says, I think the film was almost the embodiment of the anti-toxic. He was heroic and chivalric. Yeah, and that was something I was talking about with my sister too. And my sister is very much of a she's like a Democrat, like a very staunch Democrat. And I mean that in a good way with her. Like, she's a Leslie Knope kind of Democrat. Like, she's that, like it's not a political philosophy that I agree with necessarily, but if you're gonna be that political philosophy, that's the best way to do it. My sister, if more people were Democrats in the way that Leslie Knope or my sister are Democrats, I would probably be a Democrat myself, because that's what I'm talking about. But when we were watching it, and I was telling her a little bit about like some of the controversy about things being woke and the he/him sign on He-Man's desk, or Adam's desk. I'm sorry, Adam Glenn. And she was like, yeah, it's kind of like it's just kind of poking fun at the extremes of it, and she got it. She's a smart young woman. So she understood. So yeah, shout out to my sister if she's watching this. I don't know if she's ever even watched any of my videos, but Valerie, if you're watching this, I hope you enjoyed the rest of the movie after I had to leave. So and then Al Davis says, woke is a house of cards built on quicksand during a flood. It's pushy where things don't need to be pushing. Exactly. Just be cool to each other. You catch more flies, honey. You catch more flies with honey than you do with vinegar. I'm just saying. I only believe in wiping out evil people and anti-people people. Yes, there we go. And then Al Davis says, Leslie Knope is one of the best characters in comedy. Top 10 with Ron, Andy, and April. And I'm going to give a shout out also to Ben Wyatt, because to me, that show doesn't really get good until Ben Wyatt comes on. He was the thing that was missing. And I always tell people when they're watching it, it's like, it's going to be rough for like the first season and a half, but keep watching it. And once Rob Lowe shows up, that's when it gets good. And it's not because of Rob Lowe. It's because of Ben White. He shows up at the same time. They show up together. They're a team. So, but yeah, once Ben is there, that's when the show gets good. But yeah, Leslie Knope is to me one of the greatest protagonists any show has had, and one of the reasons I like that show so much is because Leslie Knope is a heroic character, not just a good person, an actual heroic person. So anyway, and like I said, there's a lot of her politics that I disagree with. I would not be the kind of guy trying to put. I'm much more like Ron Swanson in terms of my politics. I want to have like the giant sized soda. Like I want to have that. I think people should have that. I'm an adult. I can make my own decisions. I don't need a little Dixie cup of soda. I want the bucket. That's what I want. So I disagreed with her trying to put that legislation through, but I still understood that even though I thought she was wrong, she was doing it for the right reasons. You know what I mean? So yeah. Top 10 cast. Yeah, John Ralphio. Oh man, there's so many good characters on that. Tom, Jerry. Yeah, like a lot of good side characters on that. It's almost kind of like The Simpsons, where they just have like all these little extra crispy bacon for dinner if I want to. Yeah, exactly. Why are people so bad at eating? Anyway, so I don't know if you guys noticed, but I have this Skeletor action figure here, so I should probably get back to talking about him. And he does really cool with the Havoc staff. But like I said, I really think that they should have not given him white on the face. I think it should have been the same color light blue as the rest. And I think they were just tempted that, he's Skeletor, make his skull look like a face, or the face look like a skull, or whatever. He has a skull for a face. So, face me like a man, Skeletor. Well, first of all, I don't have a face. So, second of all, I don't want to. So yeah, and then it's got the, what's typical on Skeletor is how the back closes up here with a little square peg and everything. So, and then he's got a unique set of forearms, and I like these forearms. You can see they've got little fins sticking off them like Batman, and unique sort of bracers. Now, if you look at the actual Mark Taylor artwork, it's kind of abstract, but I believe that the forearms are, in his artwork, supposed to look like kind of rotted flesh with kind of pieces of skin hanging off. I think that's what he was going for. And it might have been something like mummy wraps. We've discussed this before, is that one of the biggest inspirations for Mark Taylor when he designed the character Evil Incarnate / King of the Sticks. And if you want to see what that looks like, I've got a short on my channel with the custom figure. So check that out. And but yeah, so Mark Taylor was inspired when he found when he was a fun house when he was a kid. And in this fun house, this haunted house type fun house, there was an actual human corpse, and I forget the guy's name. I'm drawing a blank on his name. But it was an actual human corpse that was being used as a funhouse attraction, a mummified gunfighter, and he knew when he saw it instinctively, this is a real dead body. This is not a prop. And it scared the hell out of him. And it stuck with him for years. When he was a designer at Mattel, he wound up designing Skeletor, kind of inspired by this mummified corpse. And that's where that came from. So, and then years later, he was watching the Discovery Channel, and they actually had an episode of a show about this mummified corpse. And he's like, oh my God, I was right. That was real. So, Bobby Wald says, Bobby Wald is here, and he says, getting any of the Skeletors like HR or Jim Bro Skeletor. I would love to get HR Skeletor. I think Jim Bro Skeletor sold out. Malone Dragon was here the other day. He said he tried to order one. It was sold out and was not able to get one, unfortunately. But I kind of figure of all the variant Skeletors in that sequence, Jim Bro is probably the easiest one to make by myself. So I'm not too worried about it. I'll just make my own. It'll be fine. Basically, I just have to take a regular Skeletor figure and make him a hoodie and maybe redo his feet. So he's got socks and sneakers. And then that's it. That's all you need. And Al Davis says, quick side question, Alan. Did you ever watch the show Face Off? Was an awesome prosthetic makeup challenge show. It had so many awesome guest judges, and the cast were mentored by Michael Westmore, who did the modern, not the shitty new Star Trek, and his host was his daughter Mackenzie. I have not seen that, and I need to check it out, because if it's the show I'm thinking about, a friend of mine is actually on that show, Scott Fensterer, who is a very talented sculptor, and I would like to see him. I would like to see him on the show. So one of these days, I'm going to have to watch it. And Al Davis says hi to Bobby Wald. Technically, he says yo to Bobby Wald, but whatever. And then Bobby Wald says, did they do that with Jesse James' body? Except for it was a Ripley's, believe it or not Barnum and Bailey Circus. I'm going to look that up. I'm going to look. It wasn't Jesse James that Mark Taylor, so I'm just going to look it up because. Okay. Mummified gunfighter. That should be the easiest way to find this. And for those of you who are fans of DC, Elmer McCurdy, that was his name, Elmer McCurdy. For those of you who are fans of DC Comics, specifically Jonah Hex, you might remember that Jonah Hex himself wound up being a taxidermied corpse in a carnival sideshow as an attraction. So I kind of wonder if Elmer McCurdy inspired Jonah Hex a little bit. That particular story, that particular gruesome ending for Jonah Hex. If you read the comic book Hex, in which Jonah Hex travels in time to a post-apocalyptic Earth, kind of like Jonah Hex meets Mad Max. There's a scene where Jonah actually sees his own taxidermied corpse in the future and realizes that it's not just a statue, it's actually him. Recognizes his own dragoons and says to himself, like, obviously kind of disturbed by this, but he shakes it off real quick. Sees Jonah Hex and says, well, I guess I managed to make it back home after all. And then goes back about his adventure. So that was really cool. So the Jonah Hex would be the guy who could kind of shake it off like that, and probably, if nothing else, would be surprised that he got so old. You know what I mean? Al Davis says by the end the contestants were super good. Skeletor's body form looked similar to some of their work. Well, that makes sense. So maybe some of those people worked on it. Scott, was he rotund, got a divorce, lost loads of weight, and wore glasses? Yeah, that was him. That's my friend Scott Fensterer. He's a cool dude. So, man, Scott sculpted a Marx Dracula figurine. You know the old Marx Universal Monsters figurines from like the 50s and 60s, and they made them on through like the 90s, I think. They made a bunch of Universal Monsters figures. They made Frankenstein. They made the Wolfman. They made the Hunchback of Notre Dame. They made the Phantom of the Opera, but they never made Dracula. So Scott took it upon himself to make a Dracula, and I bought the file from him, but I haven't gotten around to printing it out yet. So one of these days I need to get around to printing out that Dracula file. I'm really looking forward to it. And then Al Davis says he seems super cool and is a super nice dude. Yeah, he is a super nice dude, and in fact, he was a big help to me in putting together my my Michael Keaton style Batman suit. Like I bought the pieces off eBay, but he was the one who helped me mount them on the wetsuit so I could actually wear the damn thing. But yeah, Scott's a good dude. So and he lives down in Florida now, so I haven't seen him in a really long time. But like we keep in touch, occasionally. And like I said, I follow him on Cults 3D and that sort of thing. So anyway, let's go ahead and talk about the articulation on this guy. So Skeletor can look up about that far, look down about that far, tilt his head quizzically from side to side, rotate the head all the way around. And Al Davis says, super cool that you know him. I think he went back on Face Off, returning cast challenge series. Well, that makes sense because he's a really talented guy. And I don't know when he would have gotten eliminated on the show, because I know he did eventually get eliminated, but I have to imagine that if he got eliminated, it says a lot more about the talents of the artists he was up against than it says about him. Because like I said, he's a ridiculously talented dude. Ridiculously talented. So, and then the arms rotate all around the shoulders, and they raise up to the sides about that far. And then he's got a single joint of articulation at the elbow that bends in about that far and rotates all the way around. His wrists rotate all the way around, and they both have a horizontal hinge that moves them back and forth. He's got a gripping hand on the right hand and an open hand on the left hand. So he only comes with one weapon. He does not come with a sword of power because, of course, the sword of power came very late in the game. It was a last-minute edition that was come up with by the marketing guys. And Al Davis says, you have a Michael Keaton full-sized Allen-fitted bat suit? Say, what? Yes, I do. And I wore that thing to Dragon Con in the Georgia heat. Trust me, that was something you don't want. Not a pleasant experience, but it was worth it. Oh, it was worth it. It was so cool. So people will see me in a bat suit and like, hey, Batman, and I turn around and look at him and, well, you even move like him. And you know, the truth is, you're wearing that suit. That's the only way you can move. I'm just saying. Al Davis says he'd love to see that. Yeah, it's packed away right now. Well, maybe one of these days I'll break it out again, and I'd have to shave. You know, you don't want to have Batman with a big old gray beard sticking out of his cowl, and I shave and I look like a Cabbage Patch Kid. But it might be worth it just to just to bring it out of retirement for one more time. So yeah, twist all the way around at the waist, and let's go ahead and have a look at the trunks underneath, because those are the standard black Skeletor trunks. I figured we'd go ahead and look at those. And then I can get them back together. Sometimes it's tighter getting them back together than it is getting them apart. It's weird. He can do the splits, no problem. Skeletor can kick forward about that far, which is not very far, but that's typical for Origins figures, and kick back about that far. He's got a single joint of articulation, which seems really stiff on this leg. It does not want to move at all, but let's try it with the other leg. Hopefully that'll be a little more. Yeah, that one works a little. So yeah, the right leg bends in about that far. That rotates all the way around, but kind of an angle, but it still rotates all the way around. And then he's got a boot cut, so that rotates all the way around. And he's got his ankles point down about that far, his ankles point up about that far, and then those rotate all the way around, like so. So, and I should point out that Skeletor has bare feet with 5 toes, just like the production artwork. So he looks really freaking cool, and I'm really happy with how this figure turned out. This is probably one of the best Skeletor figures that they've made in the Origins line so far, and it does work, I think, just as like a regular Skeletor figure. If you didn't necessarily want to use him as like any sort of variant or anything like, you just use him as Skeletor. If you don't already have an Origins Skeletor, and at this point, why don't you have an Origins Skeletor? There's been like a million of them. But yeah, and if you don't like the head or the armor or whatever, you can always mix and match and put together your perfect Skeletor. And God knows I have, and 3D printed a lot of my own heads and things like that. Bobby Walt asked, did you have a functional grappling hook to go with this costume? No, I did not, but I did have, I took like an old Batman Forever when they reissued the Batman Returns grappling hook with Batman Forever, the one that shot off the little propeller discs. I had one of those that I painted matte black, and it looked really cool. So, and then, well, sorry, I don't have a working grab. You know, I'm not an actual billionaire, right? It was just a suit. So, anyway, that is it for Skeletor. I really like this figure, and I recommend that you pick it up. It's really cool, and I think he'll look really cool on the shelf next to the Sketchbook He-Man, and maybe we can see more Mark Taylor figures in this line as far as like the core characters go. I know we've had a few like Manny Faces and that sort of thing, and we're having that Man-at-Arms figure, but that wasn't actually designed for Masters of the Universe. That was designed for a Robin Hood line, actually. I would much rather have like the Man-at-Arms that he designed for He-Man. But oh well, maybe we'll still get it later. I should point out I didn't talk too much about the artwork on the back. We should talk about this real quick. So it's got Skeletor and Evelyn. Maybe we'll get an Evelyn, but she looks pretty much like the regular Evelyn. I think they nailed the design of Evelyn out the gate because all they really had to do was make her a new head. But they're fighting Hordak and Shadow Weaver, and this is not the design of Hordak that we got. And I think, I'm not sure because I haven't watched the show, but I think that this is the Hordak from the Netflix She-Ra and the Princesses of Power figure. I suspect that because he's got that faux hawk thing going on. And if that's the case, that means that this is probably that design of Shadow Weaver from that show. And if it is, I'm surprised at how much I like that design of Shadow Weaver. That one's really cool. If she looks like that, then that's what that's actually a pretty cool design on that show that I haven't watched. And for the most part, I didn't like the designs on that show, if I'm being real about it. Al Davis says, you mean not borrowing Alfred's study to do these reviews while he waits outside? Well, maybe he is waiting outside. I don't know. He can be kind of stealthy when he wants to be. And Lone Dragon is here right at the end, unfortunately. And I did mention you earlier, actually, on this episode. So, so if you go back and you watch the replay, you did get a mention, actually. But yeah, I kind of hope that we see that we see a figure of that version of Shadow Weaver. I really like that. You know what? While I'm thinking about it, why don't I just look it up and see Netflix Shadow Weaver? No, she didn't look like that on that show. This is a completely different. Yeah, I don't like that design as much. It's not bad. It's probably still one of the better designs that I've seen of a character on that show, but I don't really like it that much. I don't hate it, but it's okay. Talking smack? Oh, never. Heaven forbid. Start over. I already got the figure out of the box, man. You're gonna have to watch the replay if you want to see it. I'm sorry. You know, it's just how that worked. But I am glad to see you. It is nice to see you, as always. So yeah, I don't know what the heck this design is then, but it's really cool and I like it. So and I don't think this is like exactly the design of the Netflix Hordak either, but it does have some elements of it. So put it back in. I can't. It doesn't work that way. It wouldn't be the same, man. It wouldn't be the same. Just go back and watch it from the beginning. It'll be okay. I promise. So, and I've got some errands that I need to run today. And check your meme box. I will check my meme box. And for those of you thinking he means inbox, no, with Al Davis, with Lone Dragon, it's a meme box. Al Davis has never sent me any memes, as far as I know. If he did, I missed them. Sorry, Al. But yeah, Lone Dragon, he sends me a whole bunch of memes, and I'm missing out. I need to go back and check those because I know he sent me some since then. So since last time I checked them, which was like a week or so ago, on how I don't know. I got like a bunch of social medias. You can find me on one of them. And then Lone Dragon says, you know, I don't come here for the action figures anyway. I'm here to sidetrack you. Yeah, well, honestly, I don't need your help with that. I do just fine on my own. I could literally just be sitting here talking to myself and get sidetracked. That's why whenever somebody says, oh, I'm sorry, I sidetracked you. No, don't be like that. It's fine. Like this just happens. How do I do? Where is? Like, I don't know. Find me on wherever. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. I'm on X. I don't get on X that often, but I am on X. What else do I have? I do not have Threads. I refuse to have Threads because I already like barely get on X/Twitter as it is. I don't want to get on fake X/Twitter at all. But I'm already on Instagram and I'm already on Facebook. Really, Zuckerberg, you need another fucking social media thing? No, I don't think so. You got me on 2. That's enough. And then Al Davis says, "Oh yeah, I was gonna download Instagram for you." So, and Lone Dragon says, "My fans only page is crazy." Yeah, I show off a lot of dick pics. Like I show off my 12-inch dick and my 3 3/4-inch dick and my 6-inch dick. I have so many figures of Robin and Nightwing in various scales, and I don't know, they don't really get that much of a reaction. It's funny. Like I think like people tell me that's the wrong dick, and I'm like, well, what do you want? Burt Ward, Chris O'Donnell? Like You want the BTAS version? Like, what are we asking for here? So yeah, but whatever. It is what it is. Anyway, that's it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please make sure that you like and subscribe and all the fun YouTube stuff down below. Leave a comment and let me know what you think about the Sketchbook Skeletor figure and how freaking awesome he is. Al Davis says you call yours Robin. No, but sometimes it does some rubbing. That's, But yeah. So anyway, that's it for this episode. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll talk to you next time. Bye. Oh, yeah. Lone Dragon says, my dick is not a crook. And Al Davis says, peace and love to everyone. Cheers, all. Thank you all for watching. I appreciate your viewership as always. Thank you, friends of the channel. We'll talk to you next time. Bye.